Harper Wave and HarperAudio present The Art of Fear, Why Conquering Fear Won't Work and What to Do Instead, by Kristen Ulmer. Performed by Jane Oppenheimer. Introduction. Everything you know about fear is wrong. I became famous in one day. It started with an excited drive from Salt Lake City to California in an old '72 Corolla that my friends called the Silver Death Trap. I was wearing all my ski gear, including gloves, because it was January and the heater didn't work. Neither did the radio. Racing along at 80 miles per hour on bald tires, I danced to imaginary music, amazed that I was on my way to film a ski movie. A ski movie! Somehow, I'd talked a famous ski filmmaker, Eric Perlman, into giving me a shot in his latest film. I was a mogul skier, ranked 7th in local competitions. I was pretty good at throwing air off moguls, but excellent, it seems, at convincing Eric I was a badass skier, good enough to be in an industry-sponsored movie. He was a bit of a sucker, though. I chuckled to myself. Those local mogul competitions only had 7 girls competing. Arriving at 4 a.m. in the Squaw Valley parking lot, I switched off the ignition, leaned back in my lopsided, non-reclining seat, and tried to get some sleep. 3 hours later, there was a rap on my window. I opened my eyes to see a crew of brightly Gore-Tex-clad professional male skiers whom I recognized from the ski magazines. Oh, my God! They were holding their skis, ready to go. "You must be Kristen," one of them said. I bolted out of the car. It had been too cold for me to sleep, but I felt wide awake as I slipped into my icy boots, grabbed my skis, poles, and a granola bar, and ran to get on the lift with the superstars. We had early ups, meaning the resort opened the lifts briefly at 7:15 a.m. so we could get on the mountain and start filming before the public showed up. As we rode to the top, the guys ignored me and talked with excitement about the new snow, 9 inches of it. I sat there quietly. Below my dangling feet, the fresh snowfall looked soft and alluring. 2 lifts later, I followed behind as they hiked up toward something called the Palisades. When we reached the top, everyone grew quiet. It was a flat, snowy, 400-foot-long plateau with an abrupt cliff band below. I watched the guys split up to claim which cliff they were going to jump off, communicating plans with a cinematographer who was in the landing zone below us, his 16mm film camera ready for action. At the same time, a photographer followed us around the top, arranging his shots. One by one, the guys began jumping off cliffs and throwing backscratchers while the cameramen shot them. The trick of the era, a backscratcher, is when an airborne skier arches his back and touches the backs of his skis between his shoulder blades. Clearly, I realized if I wanted to get into this ski movie, I needed to jump off one of these cliffs and throw a backscratcher. Now, I had never jumped off a cliff before, nor had I even seen, much less thrown, a backscratcher. I looked over the edge, picked a big drop of about 20 feet called the box, told the cameramen my intention, put my skis on, and backed up to get speed into it. Then, loudly, so no one would miss it, I shouted like I had heard the guys do. 3, 2, 1, go! And I pushed off. You may have noticed there's no mention of fear in my story. Why is that? 20 feet is a big free fall if you've never done it before. This was decades ago, too, and we were on skinny skis, not the friendly fat skis of today, which means I landed at 40 miles per hour on, essentially, toothpicks. My ski heroes were watching. 2 professional cameramen had their expensive equipment aimed at me, and I was doing a difficult trick
Sample complete. Ready to continue?